Hey, I made it. I think I'm 5 minutes late, but I'm here. This is Chakra Talk, day 3. We're going to do this every day this year, we hope. I am Piper. I run a group called Chakra Talk. I run a business here in Salem, Oregon called Morensky's Magic. And today we're going to get right to work. Not so much about introductions here. If you pop up, I'll try to say hi. I am not doing psychic readings. I am offering information about chakra alignment. And we'll be doing it all year. I put out a couple of workbooks this year called chakra alignment workbooks called Chakra Talk, a workbook for life. And if you have any questions related to those, I will put you priority at the top of the list. That's what this is about. Otherwise, we'll just talk. Today, I'm sitting here in my little workroom and I'm surrounded by fire. I have 10 or 15 candles burning around me. That's because fire charges the root chakra, and we're going to jump right into work this morning with the root chakra. Just a couple of days ago here in the house, we had a drum circle. The drum circle was to honor my work with black elk, and it was fantastic. You cannot believe the noise and the people, and we had several new people that came in, and they brought the djembe drums. They're like big African congos. Oh man, we had so much fun. And everybody went out of here with their root chakras fully charged. Most people are aware and very conscious of this term grounding. We hear a lot about Gaia and Mother Earth. So people are kind of familiar with what this is all about. But I have a feeling there may be more to it than you're aware of, just like I've learned with all these chakras. Y'all bear with me. I've been busy morning. I'm drinking coffee. Okay, so root chakra. First of all, I'm going to talk with you about the things it does that you may not be aware of. The root chakra is responsible for your automated systems in your body. It brings the DNA up and turns it into an active thing instead of just a pattern. So your automated systems, I'm talking about respirations, blood pressures, pulses, even as deep as your blood gases. Those things are all controlled by the root chakra, and they're all automatic. Can you even imagine if we had to get up every day and think about breathing? Yeah, we've all got time to sit around and think about breathing 50 times a minute, all that, or 10 times or 15 times a minute all day long. You'd never be able to think about anything else. Some of this stuff has to be automated, and the root chakra does that. The root chakra is designated blood, brain, and bones, and that helps you. Sorry, that's Cookie. I've had help in here today. Cookie, stop. Really sorry. Blood, brain, and bones, root chakra. So when you think of disorders of the root chakra, you think blood, brain, and bones. Blood disorders such as leukemia. Brain disorders such as the neurological things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. After years and years of researching and bringing 30 years of nursing history with me, I have looked at this and saw that this stuff is in fact all controlled by the root chakra. I worked extensively for many years with Alzheimer's patients, and essentially their root chakra has become disconnected. They are no longer connected to this place, yet they continue to live. And we may get into some of that later on down the road as we get into specific illnesses. Right now, today, I want to talk about how to start aligning these things and doing this on a regular basis and how this can affect your every single day life. We're not putting on a big party here for Chakra Talk. We're not doing anything special. This is something I get up and do all day, every day, all day long. And it has literally turned my life upside down in the best way possible. Hi, Marion. I am honored. My teacher is with us. Everyone else, I love you all, but I can't stop and talk to all of you because poof, the train will leave the station and I won't know what I'm talking about. That happens sometimes when you're at really high vibrations. Sometimes thinking and being real concise down here is not the easiest thing. Okay, root chakra, running your automated systems, your brain, blood, and bones. Okay, as far as the root chakra in your everyday life here and the things you are quite aware of, the Mother Earth, the grounding, the connection to other people, connection to my dog, all these things are done through the root chakra as well. If you've ever had somebody, and I bring a lot of nursing to this talk, but I'll try to be very specific and not very technical, just stuff that everybody knows. You've all heard the term failure to thrive. You can hear it with infants. I don't know if you're aware, but you also hear it a lot with the elderly. They'll come into the nursing home. There ain't nothing in particular wrong with them. They are just dying on the vine. That's failure to thrive. That is a severe root chakra imbalance. The root chakra has come undone for whatever reason. Occasionally, you'll hear somebody who says they don't have a heart. And that's a real tricky one because we all have this heart chakra, and we'll get into that. It's a very important thing. But when they say they don't feel anything or they don't experience any love and kindness or care about anything, it's just walking through life like a zombie. You're here, you're doing okay, but nothing means anything. That's also the root coming disconnected. You can't get up here and enjoy joy if you can't even be basically connected to the planet and the people down here. So as far as connecting to other people, it does not have to be your family. It doesn't have to be your specified friends, whatever, but you do have to care about something. I have known people who are not connected to any particular person. They live very much a hermit life, and their connections on the planet are what's required to get groceries. I've seen some really far out people living way out on the fringes, and they aren't connected to anyone, but they still have root chakra function because they have connected with animals, with land, with ancestors, who knows, but they're doing just fine. But when I see these little old ladies who come into the nursing home and they're not doing fine and they've disconnected from everyone, and their son visits 3 times a week and they nod, but there's nothing there. Without root chakra connecting you to the planet, you're kind of like a balloon flying in the air, okay? It's very, very important to stay grounded. And I don't mean that in any kind of pretty little unicorn way. I mean seriously grounded to Mother Earth. I mean Mother Earth has reached up and got a hold of you, and you have reached down and you've got a hold of her. That is what I mean by being grounded. When I talk about being grounded and connected through the root chakra to other people, you have reached out and connected with them on a level that's more than hello, good morning, how are you? Okay. One of the things that really has come to my awareness in the last 3 or 4 years is that this root chakra thing is adaptable. It can change who it's attached to, and it can change how it's attached, and it can change how deeply it's attached to certain things. In the United States society, at least, it is an absolute taken, given assumption that you will be with your children and grandchildren forever, and that is a bond that you cannot break. Well, that's a root chakra bond. And if you go, and I've got lots of different little books, but the one about children's spiritual health tells all about this thing coming online at birth. I was present when my granddaughter was born. I've been present for lots of births, but after my awakening, I was present when my granddaughter was born, and I watched her come into the world with 2 chakras working, her root chakra and her little throat. And it was like, I'm here, do you hear me? And it was only a few seconds later, moments later, that she was handed to my daughter, her mama, and heart went boom, and started that exchange between the 2 of them. And you could almost see the root chakras reach out and grab each other. Okay, that's a parent-child thing. You'll also see that in twins. You'll see that in twins born together. They'll be born, and 10 minutes later, they're holding hands and they're hugging. That is a biological imperative to take care of our young. That was built into the species so we didn't go extinct. Well, we don't have that issue now, do we? We have plenty of people. We have lots and lots and lots of people. Some places have so many people they can't feed them, they can't take care of them. People are starving and dying because they're just overpopulated. All of this is all root stuff, okay? We're not even up to society yet. We're still dealing with being connected to the planet, okay? Some of the things that you can see, and I mentioned one of these already, with root chakra malfunction is a diagnosis of depression. Depression in this country is rampant. I would guess out of everyone I know, 5 out of 6 of you have been diagnosed with depression at some time in your life. And do you know what that means? The doctor says, well, you're depressed. Your chemicals are out of balance. Well, what it feels like is like you're sitting on the couch and there's not enough energy to care whether you breathe or not. I was there. It takes too much energy to get up and go get a glass of water, so you just don't. So you just sit there and get dehydrated. And you don't care about that either, because caring requires energy. When the root chakra stops its normal function of spinning and pushing energy up, between the root, the red, and the orange chakra, we have will. That's where we get our will to live, willpower. If that function is not happening, you just don't care. Society has put us into such a position, and they have done it so well, that people walk around with this not caring depression, having nothing grounding them to the earth, nothing grounding them here. They're disconnected. It's just sitting there, and yet they will look perfectly functional on the outside. I went through 25 or 30 years of this being told what a great success I was. I've come to hate that word. I hate being told I'm successful, because in my mind now that means I'm successful at making other people think I'm successful. Doesn't have anything to do with how I'm doing. Doesn't have anything to do with how you're doing. It has to do with what other people see. The first time you're going to realize that there's anything going on besides what's out there that other people see, you look inside and go, but what I see looks dead. And I don't feel anything. Well, that's what becomes important. And if it doesn't become important, you're gone. You're done. Failure to thrive becomes dead. And I was just this close. I had other things going on. I was sick. I was in a bad relationship. But all of that aside, my root was just sitting there, just spinning for years like nothing. Not even enough to create a breeze. You ever seen an old electric fan just right before it dies and it's on its last? Well, that's my root chakra for 20 freaking years. It doesn't have to be that way. And I'll tell you something else. During that 20 years, I had every color of pill you can imagine. They're such pretty pastel colors. I don't know what it is. They always make them pastel. Light green, light blue, light pink, light yellow. All things to go in and mix up your mud in your brain and get you quiet and calm so that you sit over there and look like you're doing well and everybody else feels better about it. And in the meantime, whatever's left of you is stuck in some dark corner, laying on the floor. Nobody even knows it's there. I didn't even know it was there for years and years and years and years. And then one day I got to looking, and I've told you, I turned around, I thought I was completely insane. I said, voices, what do you want? They said, we're here to help. Well, the ones that want to help will sit and wait their turn to speak. The others will not. The ones that are screaming at you, raging in your head, telling you to harm yourself, telling you to harm somebody else, those are not your guides and helpers. That is old shit brought through from old knowledge, and that's hooks, and that's all kind of stuff that we'll get into as we move on up through here. But what I'm telling you is that's not a normal thing. If you have someone in your head who waits for a quiet moment and says, hey there, how you doing? That may be a legitimate guide. They're not going to come screaming in at you and bombard you with voices. I've told you already. We seem to have quite a few people joining us today, guys. I'm so happy you're all here, but I'm going to keep right on going or else I lose my train of thought. We have so many guides that come in quietly. When my guides do come in, sometimes I don't even know they're here. And just all of a sudden, one of them will speak, and I'm like, will you identify yourself? Usually they will. But sometimes my first knowledge that they're here is the first time they talk to me. But they're very distinctive in that they're here to help. They don't ever come in times of stress, which I don't really have much stress anymore, but I used to have a lot of it. And I used to have a lot of voices in my head that weren't very nice. And all of that is energetic, and all of that can be repaired, and you can do it all yourself, but you got to learn the basics. The basics is you start at the beginning. Well, we're starting today at the beginning. We're looking at how to align and charge your root chakra, and we're looking at some of the things that can go wrong if it's not aligned properly. Some of the things you can do to align it, you all know, you've all heard of it, barefoot, walking outside. Do you know there's a scientific reason for that? It has to do with the transfer of ions and electrons, and go get some deep science guy and they'll explain it to you in about 10,000 words. Bottom line is it's good for you. The earth comes into you and you go into the earth. It's a normal exchange, and it's happening at the physical level. We're exchanging information with the cosmos all day, every day at a non-physical level. This is occurring at the physical level. It's very good for your body. Other things people do have to do with Earth, Moon, and Sun. I don't know if a lot of you are aware that Lady Rock, what I call Earth, the Earth Star Chakra is the actual Earth itself. And that is the connection we have with our root chakra. She's the one that reaches up and hangs on to us. So I call her Lady Rock. She's a dear friend of ours. But she, I lost it. I lost the train of thought. This happens a lot. Let's go back. Root chakra. Lady Rock reaches up and grabs you. She's also responsible for space, for stars, for moon, for Sister Sun. She has all the elements in her control. The water, water, fire, air, all these things. Okay, do you understand? This is all Lady Rock's control. It's not just about grounding your feet and walking barefooted and every now and then beating on a drum. She does all this stuff. She's the manifestation of physicality in this particular realm, if you will. Okay, let me get the book. Let's see if we can slow down just a little bit here and see if we can go from the beginning, because I'm losing myself. I told you I wrote the book about the famous 7, and the famous 7 begins right after the introduction with work on the root chakra. So we'll just go right to the book. I wrote it for some reason. Okay, I do use some few stones and oils and things like that, but those are not my priority, and I'm not going to talk about them here unless somebody asks about them. The ones I use are very, very specific, and I use them as talisman, which is a little bit different than just the power of the stones. I use them with very specific intention, and I only use a very limited few. Okay, let's see what I have written here. I'll read you something. This is from another book I wrote called Your Mom Called and Said Come Home, Tips for Staying Grounded. Grounding is the name given to the process of aligning your root chakra with the planet, our Mother Earth. Staying grounded does not require you to be a weird hippie guru grandma who hugs trees. That's just how it works for me. But when I was a 7-year-old girl, I was grounded by my loving relationships, and at that time it was my cousins and my friend who did that for me. Of course, I had no awareness of that. We were just playing dolls. So you see, very ordinary things that you do all day, every day, and that we do with our children, and that our children do with each other, are building that grounding, that root spreading relationship. Hello to every single one of you joining me. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really new at this, and I haven't really got my pattern down yet, so just bear with me. If I see anybody asking questions, I will pop you to the top and we'll talk about it, but mostly this is just my friends saying hi. So hi, and I love you all. We'll keep going. Okay. I'll tell you something else that occurred. When I was about 10 years old, 10, 11, we moved to Panama. In a situation where, so I had a new stepdad. I had moved away from my grandmother, who was my rock and guide. My mom was having serious issues with addiction. And I wound up in another country where I was not allowed to speak English at school. I'm going to tell you about coming ungrounded. I was completely at a loss. I went to school every day. My stepdad dropped me off at school, but it was like a 2-hour ride home on the bus. And all the kids talked in Spanish. After a long time, I was there for 2 years. I'd say halfway through the first year, I was finally able to talk to the kids on the bus, at least a little bit. And nobody was making fun of me, and it felt better than sitting all by myself. Most of the time I sat on the playground alone and I read Louis L'Amour. So, but at the same time, being ungrounded while I was in Panama, there was a lot of other things going on in life. And at that point, coming ungrounded may have kind of helped me, because when I did reconnect, I reconnected much stronger. I got a lot out of that. And that's all written in another place. I'm not going to go into a lot of that right here. But let's go. I do want you to understand, though, that you can come disconnected from root chakra. You can reconnect. You can become very, very ill. You can become very, very well. And it's all within your control. So let's see what else we got to say here. Root chakra imbalances. One of the things you may not be aware of, and I know a lot of you've had this, is migraine headaches. Migraine headaches are controlled by the root chakra. This is an imbalanced wobble, and electricity is shooting around where it shouldn't be. My brain is able to process its energy efficiently. This is a mantra you can say to yourself, because what's happening is the energy has been processed inefficiently. There's more coming in than it can process, or it's coming in at an odd angle, something. I don't know how that works in there, but it's very definitely connected to it. Meditate, not medicate, meditate in darkness and silence with your eyes open, and learn to focus on that. That gives you a backdrop for when that energy starts shooting and around. I've seen lots and lots of people have seizures. I've talked to dozens at least about what it felt like in there, what it felt like coming out. There's this period after called post-ictal, where you're kind of getting yourself back together, and sometimes it can be 30 minutes or it can be 2 or 3 days. It's a very different process. But anything affecting the root chakra affects your constitution pretty much top to bottom. We've got your brain and your head up here, and we've got all the bones that have us standing up, and we have the blood that feeds the whole thing. So if that's not important, that's where you have to begin with this. That's why we begin down there in the root chakra, because if you haven't got that going, well, like I said, for 20 years, I walked around being a great success and dying inside. So if you don't want to do that, there's other ways to do this, and you don't have to have all the pretty pills. I'd recommend M&Ms or Sixlets. Physical disorders and difficulties of the root balance include your blood disorders. I'm going to read from the book now because I'm needing to get on track. Leukemia, brain and neurological disorders like seizures and migraines, dementia, did you realize, and Parkinson's. And then also your spinal issues like MS, multiple sclerosis, osteoarthritis is a function of the root chakra getting tired, basically. It's getting a little too much control at that point, so it starts building some extra stuff it don't need. Degenerative conditions where your bones are letting go. You have degenerative joint disease a lot in people's spines, where the bones are kind of falling apart before the body's done with them. Okay, those are all root chakra things. Okay. One thing I will mention about my work, you will find that I refer a lot to Africa because that's where I have my origin, and I have a lot of connection there. And one of the great things for the aromatherapy, I know a lot of people like aromatherapy, is myrrh oil. As far as I know, that comes out of Africa exclusively. I mean, I'm sure you can buy processes somewhere, but it comes from the myrrh tree there, and it is very engaging to the root chakra, and to the point I'm not even sure what that's about. I can breathe it and literally feel it spread down through my body and spread out like the roots of the myrrh tree. So it's just a real interesting one, and it has a beautiful, sweet smell. So if you ever are interested in aromatherapy, there's one of the things I said I wasn't going to talk about. You see how this is going to go. Okay, root chakra is represented in red. If you want to get up and charge your root chakra, get up and put on a red shirt. Sometimes it's kind of a joke because I never ever wear red, and when I do, people are like, "Oh, what's going on with her?" I'm usually wearing purple. I'm usually trying not to fly out of the top of my head. So being grounded to the Mother Earth is not an issue for me, and being grounded and loving people is not an issue for me. It's what I've done my whole life. I've had a career in giving of myself to other people, and it's just perfect. It's just what I do naturally. To do anything else to me seems a bit unnatural. I think we're going to move on up, and I'm going to just kind of keep processing this. I'm still not seeing any questions. I see lots of folks joining, and you all know what we're talking about. So if you have any questions, please feel free to jump in there. Anybody with questions from the workbook is going to be popped right to the top because that is the priority here. So orange and yellow chakras, we're going to move into those, and you're going to find that the way I deal with them is a bit different than what you've been told. And I got told the same things. I learned all this from the origin of Google God, which is what I call all that, that information on the internet. Yellow and orange are always presented separately. And to me, that's a puzzle because in my work, I have discovered that the yellow and orange chakras are the only two that have no source or non-physical input. When I say source, or when I say spirit, or when I say universe, or on the rare occasion I use the word God, I'm talking about this whole energy that we're the little spinny part of. Remember, we're filtered energy, part of the big energy. Okay. The yellow and orange chakra don't get any access to that. They are fed from the root chakra, which is your DNA moving up. Orange is where your will is established and you come on up through the body. They don't get any from above. And energy hits the heart chakra. Again, here, there's no input to yellow and orange from the source energy except through another chakra. Do you see what I'm saying? They have to work together. Yellow and orange are an item, if you will. If one's not good, the other's not good. If mama's not happy, papa's not happy. They must be in alignment together. And what I found in my very early days of doing this was if you charged up one and not the other, and the other one had damage, they'd just leak and run right out. My yellow and orange were severely damaged when I encountered the decision to stay here and start healing this mess. And the yellow had a very bad rip in it from a psychic attack, and that stuff we'll get into much later. But I would put my hands on my belly, and I was just learning, and I was sick and I was crazy, and it was just anything in the world I could do to make this better. And I'd put my hands on my abdomen, delivering Reiki energy, and it would just pour in. I could feel it like it was just a flood of it going in. And I would just be like, wow, I actually feel that. I feel so much better. And I get up and out of my meditation and I go about whatever I was doing at the house, laundry, whatever it might be. And in 30 minutes time, I would just go, it's done. It's gone. I'm like, well, I don't understand this. I didn't understand it at first. So I changed my tactics. I said, hey, let's put the energy in up here where the yellow has this big hole in it, and let's see what happens there. So I filled up the yellow, and I sat, and I recall specifically a particular day when I poured it in until I literally could not push any more energy in. My hand had just become a part of my stomach. There was no separation. I was charged up. I got up. I remember this day. This was a day when I was really sick, and I got up and I went out and I went for a walk and I went and did something. There was just nothing, it was just a regular old thing that anybody could do, but I hadn't been doing it for years. And in 30 minutes time, I was back home and I was laying on the couch. Okay. Do you understand? They have to be dealt with together. No matter how much you can charge up one or the other, if the other one is out of balance, if half of you is sick, it's going to take the good stuff, gobble it up and be done with it, and not really give you much benefit for it. Okay. Guys, I appreciate you all being here. Hi, Marita. I almost said hi to myself because I'm on the list. Nelson, Amy, Connie, Marion, Shelley. Gosh. Thanks, guys. Lawson, I'm glad to see you. Celine, Sandy, Paulette, I'm glad you joined me, the lady with the weird deck of cards like me. Okay, I'm just saying hi, guys. If you have any questions, pop them out there for me. Otherwise, I'm going to try to keep talking. We're at 28 minutes. I'm going to take about a minute break and collect my thoughts, and then we're going to carry on. Okay, so we're talking about yellow and orange chakras. These actually have names. They're called the sacral chakra and solar plexus chakra. I refer to these in all my workbooks and everything as lower body and upper body. Lower body, obviously orange, upper body, yellow. The lower body does control certain areas of your function, and the yellow does control certain areas of your function. However, they must be controlled together in order to achieve optimum function. Okay, down in the yellow, you do what you'll hear in the normal literature is that this is the area of your creativity, sexuality. I absolutely agree 100%. It is the area controlling your reproductive organs. Okay, issues with uterus, issues with infertility, issues with ejaculatory issues in gentlemen, these would all be in the orange chakra. And if you think about it, reproduction is kind of the ultimate form of creativity. Yeah, you take a little bit of me and a little bit of you, and we get a whole new thing. Well, that's all located there in that orange chakra. If you are newlyweds and you want to have a baby, wear a lot of orange to bed. Get some orange sheets for your bed. Yeah, I'm serious. Orange is a good thing. If you find that your sex life is lacking something or non-existent, focus on that orange stuff. Focus on orange things. But be sure you're working on the whole body, okay? You got to be sure that that upper yellow is well and healthy if you want that lower orange to work. Trust me, mine didn't work at all. And now things work just fine. So we'll just leave that at that. Okay. Yellow and orange, what are things you can do? Number one thing I would recommend is get the hell away from those chemical drugs. They will kill you. I was completely full of cancer. May still be, but if I am, we're living in perfect harmony. No chemotherapy, no radiation, none of that stuff. If you have cancer, you need to look into RSO. And I'm just going to leave that at that. It's a huge topic. I'm alive and well today because of medical marijuana and because of Reiki and because of connecting to the source of this beautiful energy and learning how to adapt and live within it and interact with it. Okay. So getting away from chemicals, best thing you can do. If you are on a truckload of medicine, and a lot of you may be, I know how that goes. You pour them out in the morning. Oh my God, they're so pretty. Don't stop them all at once. Don't go dump your pills and buy a bottle of myrrh. Don't do something that's irrational. But we have to start somewhere. Pick one of them and say, do I really need this one? I've had a lot of folks work with me coming off their schizophrenia meds. Primarily that's in other countries now that I think about it. In other countries, they have a different type of healthcare. So kind of everybody gets the same medicine and they get it all paid for and they're kind of in the same programs. And I've done a lot of work with some folks in England and Wales. That seems to be primarily it. And they feel pretty good about coming off their meds and they go to their doctors and their doctors say, well, sure, let's try that. You're not going to find that to be the same in the United States. Being a nurse for 30 years and a psych nurse at that, I can assure you, your doctor's going to encourage you to keep taking those drugs. Even children. I can't even imagine how many children we have in the United States now medicated, and that's what I did for a career for 5 years. I worked at a state psychiatric unit for children 14 and under. I gave thousands of pills to kids and told them their voices weren't real when they were. So this is what I can do to make up for that. You can't ever go back and fix what you did. You do the best you can at the time you're doing it. But moving forward, I would never, ever participate in that. I completely retired from nursing. I no longer give people chemicals of any kind. So, and that was a great joy for me to be able to let that go. And that's because someone cares for me and takes care of me and sponsors me, as I said, to let me do this work that I need to do. Okay, other great things you can do for your yellow and orange chakras. The orange chakra, we talked about the sex, the creativity. Being creative is wonderful for that area. You'll find that if you're painting and you're creative and you're crafting or you're knitting or whatever it is you do, you may find your sexuality boosts up a little. Funny how those go together. Now, moving up to the yellow chakra, as far as things you can do, the yellow chakra is more about how other people affect you and how you react to them. Up in the Google God explanation, they call this your connection to society, things like that. I see it a little differently. I see that if the orange and yellow chakra are in perfect balance remaining in balance, you do get along a lot better in society, but I think it's because you're healthier. I think it's because you are present and able to engage with society And you do get along better. I get along better with people now than I ever did, even though I spend less time with them. Um, it's interesting, though, when you go out and you're jolly and you feel good, people around you respond with jolly and feel good. We went out this morning to, we prowl around secondhand stores. It's a big thing. So we went out this morning. We went to the store. We went and had some coffee, had a lovely morning. And both places we went, somebody gave me something for free for no reason. One lady said, "Oh, this is marked too high. I'm just going to let you have that instead." I said, "Well, thanks." And then we went and got some lunch, and they said, "Well, you're going to have to wait 3 extra minutes while we cook your fish. We're going to let you have your drinks for free." I said, "Well, thanks." And that just goes around and around and around. And Joe noticed it, and he said, "People just giving you stuff today?" I said, "I'm in a very giving mood today." He said, "Yeah, it works that way. The more you give, the more you receive. The happier you are, the happier people are around you. The happier people are around you, the more people are happy around everybody." I say a lot, the very best thing you can do for this world as a whole is to take care of yourself. Because as I get into very high level chakra functions and into the physics of it, you find out that every moment of joy we have feeds into the moment of joy that everybody gets to draw from. But so does every moment of crap, you know? So yellow and orange chakras. Yellow, exercise, good food, great relationships, no chemicals. Plant medicines. I'll talk a little bit about plant medicines and not just marijuana, because that's a specific one that has legal issues in a lot of places still, which is just completely ridiculous, but we'll just leave that alone. I don't do politics, so I don't feel that I need to make discussions about political things. Marijuana is a perfectly safe drug, if you will. It's a plant that grows all over the world that was provided here for us. It's very similar to turmeric. Turmeric also is a plant that just about cures everything and is required in just about everything. All the plants and all the minerals and everything that we need for these bodies was provided to us here on the planet. It's all here. And then all this stuff we create with chemicals and experiments and science to do it differently, the folks I talk to say that's not a very good idea. That's not good for your health. It's not good for the planet. It's not good for anything. It's just the way things went. It's the way things occurred, if you will. Okay, I still don't see any questions, so we'll keep going. So plant medicines, some of the things that I have found is if you do have a lot of medication in your system, and I had a lot. I was addicted to opioid narcotics for one thing, besides all the stuff that the doctor said, "Here, have some of this." And so I had a lot of liver damage to the point that I have permanent neuropathy in one leg from problems with my liver 10 years ago. Well, I found this. They tell me, now be aware, I'm not advising you to do anything. I'm telling you what I did. They told me there's this dandelion stuff, and you get this and you take it and it'll help that. So I looked into it, and it's sure enough, it's a dandelion, yellow dock, something. Anyway, it's a milk thistle. It's a common combination of those three things. And I'll be damned, I took it for 6 months, and I've got all sorts of improvement in my liver function. My hair grows normal again. My fingernails grow again. My skin's not dry and itchy. I did that back 2 or 3 years ago. I did a full 6 month, 180-day detox. With that, taking it every single day, no matter what, you take the stuff, and it just works. It just keeps working. You don't tell anything, you don't feel anything. It has no side effects, but you're taking these magic plants and they're doing their job. Well, here about, I don't know, a month ago, they said to me, "You need a refresher." I ordered it and I'm taking it again. I do whatever they tell me to do, and they have yet to lead me wrong. I probably should explain, when I say they, I'm referring to my non-physical team. They direct everything I do with my health. They direct pretty much everything I do, period. And I don't consult with doctors or physicians here at all anymore. I do some consulting of my own and do some assessments with Ayurvedic medicine. And I find that to be really interesting. That's the old Indian. plant medicine and food medicine. They basically see food as medicine. So anything they have going wrong, they just adjust what they're eating and it fixes things up. Well, we have some stuff going wrong here in the United States with all the drugs and everything that's kind of got to be cleaned up at a little deeper level. So that's what I'm telling you. The other medicine that I will absolutely not prescribe but recommend to everyone is turmeric, and it's a member of the ginger family, and it works in the body like ibuprofen, kind of as an anti-inflammatory. But let me tell you, when I've been on turmeric for about 6 months or so, I looked up one day and went, wow, I don't have any pain anymore. And I'd had chronic pain. That's why I'd had the back surgery and got on the pills and all, the whole 9 yards. But I didn't have any pain anymore. But I mean, I still had the arthritis because you can still hear the snap, crackle, pop once in a while. But the pain's gone. All the inflammation is gone. Well, the way the universe works with me is they say, we're going to make sure you understand how this is working. So for no apparent reason that I was aware of, I quit taking it for about 6 months. It just kind of disappeared out of my awareness. I ran out of it. I quit taking it. Guess what? I was walking around with a limp and pain and taking Tylenol every day, which is not good for my liver, taking ibuprofen, and they said, get back on your turmeric. So I started back on the turmeric. 2 weeks time, pain's gone. I will not be stopping it again. Okay? That's a plant. All that kind of stuff is provided here on the planet for us. It does take some time to go through it all and figure out what works for this illness and that illness, but it's all here. Everything. I take nothing at all that I would ever take a prescription of an antibiotic or anything. I can't imagine ever doing that again. If I fall down and cut my leg open, I'll probably let somebody sew it up for me, but I don't plan on taking anything. I would come home immediately then and start putting comfrey on it and drinking my comfrey tea, and we'd take care of it. Okay, so I'm losing my train of thought and rambling again. We're going to do this for a whole year, folks. This is amazing. Back to dealing with your physical health. Now, I'm going to get to an energetic point of this. We've talked about the food. You got good food, good water. Get away from your chemical drugs. You're exercising. You're breathing fresh air. You're grounded. You're connected to Mother Earth. Things are looking better. You're feeling more creative. You're feeling more sexual. Wow, life is good. You're waking up. All this stuff is happening, okay? This is all happening. And the normal thing is for that energy to move right on up through and into the cosmos. Okay, energy's natural flow is in a spiral up, always up, always up. That little thing that makes us, well, it starts at the root and up we go. We're the human because of the spiral. When I see the chakras, which I do, and a couple other folks I know have visioned them, what I see are swirling, spiraling rainbows of what appears to be some sort of gas, but it's not gas. It's just, that's the vision that I get from it. I guess if anything, it would be swirling light. But to give you some idea, it kind of looks like watching smoke swirl around. And it'll be red down at the bottom, orange above that, and it gets narrower as it comes up to a point at the crown, and then it goes off into non-physical. Well, at the root, you also go off into non-physical. These little 7 things here that make up this thing, we get to have a body. That's where we get a body. We're halfway there, guys. We've made it 45 minutes. I don't know if y'all are going to want to listen to me for 90 minutes, but I know this is a long time to talk with nobody talking back. Okay, let's see. So let's talk a little bit about that normal, natural energy moving upward, because that's what we're all striving for here. And then I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that can happen if it gets sucked downward. That is the abnormal movement of energy. It is not supposed to hit the heart chakra and be drugged down into the depths. It's supposed to hit it and spiral up, producing joy. You've all heard me say, enjoy joy, or every moment of joy raises the vibration of the universe. That's because that's the feed in back to source energy. Getting a little more into physics, and we'll get to that later. But right now, I just want you to know, heart chakra is your intake valve. That's why when you're standing next to somebody you love, or your children, or your favorite song comes on, you feel this You all felt it. You know you have. That's no kooky. That's the heart chakra opening up and you being aware of it because of a flood. Well, it's always open and it's always got stuff going in it. If in fact you have your heart chakra closed off, you're not going to be doing too well. You're going to find yourself feeling robotic and fatigued. Okay, and that's just if it's just blocked. You're just not letting that energy in. So again, something we'll talk about it at some other point. That's more of a disorder than something just to discuss. So energy coming into the heart chakra, the natural function is the energy comes out or from the outside. It comes in, it hits the heart chakra. It comes up to the voice chakra, which I told you is your output. It's expressed in a normal and natural way. And this keeps that energy moving up. Energy moving up would actually be moving this way in a spiral, creates that experience of joy. Joy is an energetic thing. It is not happy, don't worry, be happy. I'm talking about joy. Joy is a physical manifestation of energy moving in its natural state. It moves from down, it spirals, and it moves up. That is joy. And when it comes through here, that's my kooky, and she's not such joy at the moment. When it comes through the heart chakra, you want to take her out with you? You're getting booted, kid.
Come on.
Thank you. She's going to go hang with Dad. Okay. So energy coming into the heart chakra, the natural movement is for it to go up. And this feels good to us. This is what love feels like. So we say, oh, it's love, it's happy, it's joy, it's energy. But it's energy moving in its natural state. Now, what can happen if this down here, okay, what we're doing here in the belly, and yellow and orange is not well, okay? We'll go back to when I was first deciding I wasn't going to die, and my yellow and orange were like ripped and torn and not doing anything they were supposed to. And every bit of energy that was coming into me, all energy, no matter how much anybody loved me, no matter how great something was, no matter how beautiful the day was, the energy came in and it fell down into that pit. And it gave me cancer. I mean, that's what hate does. It causes cancer. And particularly cancer in your middle organs here, all anywhere in there, hate dripping down into there, energy dripping down into there. So basically it's like you've got, what should we call it? Not infected energy, but it's like the energy is dead. I don't know what else to say. The energy comes into the heart chakra and it drops. And you don't get any use of it. Nobody can love you out of that. All the pills I took for 20 years could not bring that energy up to here. They could bring it up to here where I looked successful. And everybody said what great job I was doing and how those meds must be working while I was in the back room dying. You see, there's a trade-off. You want to look good for what's out there. You want the approval of who's out there telling you you look sick to say, you look better, I feel better, we did a good job. Or do you want to actually look in the mirror or look inside and go, this feels like shit. What can I do about it? Because you are the only one who can do anything about it. I've had so many doctors, gosh, I just can't even count them over the years because I was both nurse and patient, and then I was working with kids, and I've had so many doctors who just, this is what you feel, this is the pill for that. This is what you feel, this is the pill for that. I mean, they come in with their prescription pad in their hand and their pen in the other hand and say, how are you doing? And as soon as I answer, they start writing. Well, that's crap. That's not how are you doing. That's what can I give you today to shut you up? What can I give you today so I feel like a successful doctor and you go away and nobody even notices you're there because you're no longer an inconvenience. It went on for a long time and it kind of sucked. It affected my nursing career because I didn't want that for my patients. I've been known to stand at a patient's bedside for 45 minutes just letting them talk. When I've got 10 people wanting me, and I'm like, no, this is what I have to do right now. This is more important than me going to get your ice water. I'm going to stand here and they can go get your ice water. It just, sometimes a human being needs another human being to reach out and say, you're okay just the way you are. And I'll sit here and be with you just like you are right now. That's kind of the point of Marinsky's magic. Connecting you to the cosmos is connecting you back to your internal self so that you can find your own healing, you can find your own support, you can find your own willpower and get it moving upward and find this joy that I live in all the time now. But I didn't start out here, and I didn't get here by finding a new doctor and getting a new pill. It just didn't work that way. I'm going to leave that at that for now as far as talking about disorders. I'm going to sit here and drink my coffee, and if anybody wants to talk, we can talk. And if not, I'll just sit here with you because I like you exactly the way you are, right here, right now, today. And I like me this way. And I've talked enough. If any of you have ever watched Eckhart Tolle speak, it's just amazing. I think he meditates on stage more than he does anywhere else. Hey, Larry, you're popping in here at a moment when I'm decided I'm done talking for a little bit. You see, the universe has not allowed me to prepare for these. They had me make my little sign that said it was coming about a month ago, and that's it. They don't allow me to prepare for these things ahead of time because then it's not legitimate. I'm not here to put on a show. I'm here to answer questions or share energy with you or sit here and keep you company while we drink coffee. I think from the names on the list, all of you know this, but I'll say it in case somebody looks at this later who's not from around here. All of my books are available on Amazon. And my name is Pibre. If you type that in, it'll go straight to my stuff. Everybody else, I guess, spells it ER. If anybody has any suggestions for me, I would really love that. And if anybody has any topics they'd like to take off on and cover, I'd like that too. When people watch my work, it kind of seems like I'm all over the place. I work with Native American, I work with shamanism, I work with the Hindu, I work with the Ayurvedic, I work with spiritualists. Interesting thing of it is it's all chakras, every bit of it. The reason I work with so many people is because I found the common thread. The common thread is chakras for everything. Everything we do here, everything we experience, everything we see here is because of this filtered energy that's part of the whole energy. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, the very first book I wrote was called Do We Exist? It's an interesting take on the physics part of it. I'll share something interesting with you on Saturday morning, like day after tomorrow. Excuse me. I'm starting a class called Beginning Buddhism or Beginnings in Buddhism. And interestingly, the very beginning first page of the workbook says, "What does Buddhism have to do with chakras?" Um, and we explain all that. It turns out the Buddhist Eightfold Path matches up exactly to 8 chakras, and they're all in order. So it'd be interesting. If you're interested to come and join us with that, I'm providing all the written materials, so you don't have to purchase a book or anything. Um, and of course, there'll be coffee. And we're not looking at Buddhism, the history of the religion. We are looking at quickly how to attain Buddhahood, how to become the quiet, calm, focused person that Prince Gautama was at the end of his life. He was not at the beginning. My first encounter with channeling him, he was 15 and he was something else. He hadn't been outside the castle at that point. Now I work with him as a very old man. Wonderful energy. I work with a lot of folks who are ascended masters, and that's just a different chakra way up at the top. But it gives me some really interesting interactions and encounters. Hey, Bonnie. We're just sitting here because we ran out of stuff to talk about. Nobody has any questions. So I'm drinking coffee and we're just sharing our time together. Facebook's going to give us about another 30 minutes and then they'll throw me off anyway. So you guys are lucky doing this way. The guys who get the book actually have homework. You don't have to have any homework. You just get to sit and listen. If you want some homework, we can make some up. Do all of you know how to meditate? Do all of you practice meditation, or do any of you? When I first started this, I practiced meditation real specifically, like go in, get dark, get quiet, center myself, do all that, and stay in there for a long time. I think the longest I went in was maybe about 5 or 6 hours. It got real cold. But I don't really practice focused meditation anymore. I just kind of walk around in a state of constant meditation, if you will. Joe says I live in the eternal right now. makes it hard to remember things sometimes. Um, but that's a part of getting that thoughts slowed down and stopped so that you can actually see what's going on here in the world right now. And if you live right now and you don't think about it too much, there's really nothing you need, nothing going on. And I look over that way because it shows out my window and it's very white outside that we're having some strange weather here. My grandma guide that I work with is 6,000 years old from Siberia, has told me this is going to be a very hard winter. And so far, we're in an El Nino and it's been 60 degrees and she's not back down a bit. So she made sure I had plenty of warm socks and sweaters. We'll see. She doesn't usually steer me wrong, but so far, not so much. Maria, if you're still there, what does it mean when these things say pin comment? Can you tell me? I've got an expert here watching. She's been posting on my page for a long time and she's got a good show. So she's being the expert. Or any of you can pop in and tell me. Some of these things say pin comment. I've not seen that before. Anyway, like I told you, this is a work in progress. We'll figure it out as we go. We're going to be here every day this year. By the end of the year, we'll have it. We'll have it down. Alrighty, guys. I really don't have anything else to say today. Work on the root orange yellow chakras. Take a look at them. See if you have any questions. Come back and talk to me. I can't tell you what we'll talk about tomorrow because I don't know yet, but we will be here at 12 o'clock. All right, everybody have a wonderful day. Love you lots.